We find Iggy in a different place this year. What can you tease about what fans can expect from him when we start the season off?
Yeah, I mean, I can tease that, which isn't even really a tease at all, that Iggy is sticking to his guns. He decided to not see patients, and that's exactly what he's doing. Damn it, he means to. And he's being supported by his loving husband, his children, which is not easy. This is a big change for his family, but so far so good. The support system is holding him, is holding him up. And I think things are good until they're just not. He sort of comes up against some very predictable feelings and roadblocks. It's funny when you think about someone who has really come to identify themselves as like a large part of who they are is that they're a caretaker, which we established with Iggy. He doesn't even know his value outside of being able to help people. So a guy who decides to stop helping people, who is all about helping people, is probably going to implode at a certain point. So without giving too much away, we are going to be watching that journey throughout the season. But like I said in the beginning, he's holding strong, and he has new residents that he's training to take over for him, really. And that's an interesting dynamic to watch, because I think even subconsciously he's trying to prepare them for what happened with him, which is he lost a big piece of himself, to chance and other patients. But he's doing it in a pretty ill-advised, maybe kind of destructive way, which is a really fun episode we have coming up. I think it's episode 403. But anyway, I don't want to give away too much.
Well, I was actually going to kind of talk quasi about that because as he is in the position to shape people who will be doing what he did, how much is he conscious of potentially projecting on them his own kind of trauma and his own experiences in a way that maybe will be counterproductive to what they actually need in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, you would think he would be hyper aware of that as a professional, therapist. But I think it just, as always with Iggy, his intentions are very pure, and I think he's a very good human being. But yeah, he's definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, projecting onto these residents that they're going to get messed up, and that they can't do what I did. And like I said, later on when he's in these sort of training sessions with his residents, he kind of rides them to a degree that I think subconsciously, even beyond his own understanding, he's it's like, I have kids. I don't want them to be actors. I've done well as an actor. My daughter's already like, I'm going to be a Broadway actor. And I'm like, oh my God, don't be anything but a Broadway actor. And no disrespect to Broadway actors, just it's a very hard business, harder than film and TV. So I can't help but project onto her how difficult it is, the things you have to prepare yourself for, the huge losses I've suffered, the rejections, all this stuff. But it's her dream, and I can't. So you have to find this balance of giving them the tools and trusting that they will go forward and use the tools effectively to, hopefully not suffer the same way you did, but they're going to, but Iggy is, the little tyrant in Iggy is coming out, and he's having a bit of a temper tantrum about these people. He just wants to protect everyone so much. So yeah, it starts to come out in a very deconstructive and maybe discouraging kind of way.
I don't know how much you're allowed to speak about this, but Iggy is a conduit of sorts to some help in the premiere episode because there's a circumstance that happens at the hospital where they need some outside help. What can you tease about the situation he finds himself in?
Yeah. So right on the heels of deciding not to see patients, Iggy has to see a patient, not in the typical sense. It's more in a sort of, he's being outsourced by the hospital to sort of exploit his relationship with this patient who has experience specifically with what has happened within the hospital. And he almost goes into detective mode. He has to go and sort of pick this patient's brains to help understand maybe who is a suspect for what has happened in the hospital. And unfortunately, that patient has a fairly intimate understanding of Iggy as well. And she sucks him back into a very vulnerable place and really picks at the scabs, which are barely even beginning to form, about him giving up on caring for people. I think she says, at what point does the white knight stop caring for people? It's when he believes that people deserve to be cared for. And that's like a knife to the heart for Iggy. That's his whole thing, is how much he can care for people. So yeah, it's it's an interesting dynamic that kicks off the season for how this new trajectory for Iggy is going to play out, you know.